Hey, good morning, guys. We're sitting out here going to do a quick little video over deer blowing and if your hunt's over at that point in time. So, I think there's several things you got to consider here. And number one is just going to be the amount of deer in that particular area. So, walk through a couple of examples there with that. Is, if you're hunting on a high pressured private or public piece of property, and the deer comes downwind of you, catches your scent there, your hunt may be over. It's just all depending on how many deer really are in that area, because that may have been the only deer that was going to come through that area in the first place. Now, you know if you do run into that situation, I would personally still hunt. I feel like you do more damage getting down mid morning or 30 minutes into your hunt than what you would be staying up in that tree. So if I'm going to hunt one particular area, typically depending on the deer movement or what I've seen, whether trail cameras or scouting, I'm going to hunt, from probably up to about 10 o'clock, regardless, if a deer blows or not. Now, once you get into your private land and your low pressured areas, the amount of deer again is going to come into play there. But I think that with that low pressure, those deer, they're going to probably continue to come through there as their normal pattern is. So that's why it's so important, if you got the ability to, manage a piece of property or hunt a particular piece of property, to hunt smart. Just don't go in there and hunt your best spots, on a 80-degree day or 70-degree day. Wait for those fronts to move through, and that should produce some pretty good quality hunts for you. Now, the other thing is you've also got to understand that a deer may blow and then other deer may hear that, but deer travel a lot and a long distance every single day. And the does particularly, they're probably going to stay in a pretty core area, maybe a couple hundred yards. But those big mature bucks, especially during the rut, they're going to be cruising, and they can be cruising multiple miles a day. So that's why you don't want to give up on that particular stand, because you just don't know what's going to come through. Now, the other item when a deer blows is those other deer, that particular deer may have caught your scent, but those other deer around there that are upwind or different direction, they may have heard that deer blow, but it doesn't mean that they're going to say, okay, well, it's a human pressure. What it could be is a bobcat or a coyote that came through, or something stirred up, maybe some deer, and for some reason, one of them got bumped into the next one, and it startled them and they blew at that point in time. So you've always got to keep that in mind there. Just because a deer blows at you doesn't mean that your hunt's over. Now, what I will tell you is, depending on the time of the year, if a deer blows, especially a doe, chances are I'm probably going to take a shot at her. Just the kind of, basically what you've done is you've educated that deer for that particular season. So if you plan on hunting this spot continuously throughout that season, that deer, every time she comes through there, she's going to look up in that stand location or that blind location, and she's going to be really watching you. So that's something to keep in mind. That's a personal strategy of mine. Didn't mean it has to be yours, but I did want to kind of address that. Now, on the bucks, and even the does, year after year after year, if it's a ridge top or up in the woods, those deer, I don't think that they're really going to be, they're going to anticipate, you being a hunter up in that tree stand. I don't know if they've got the realization that they can say, okay, well, this tree has a hunter in, every single fall. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the other thing is, on my blinds, I'm able to move my blinds, but I've got several of them that are pretty light, pretty tight in there. And I've watched a lot of deer move back and forth over the years, and every once in a while, there will be a deer that will spot me moving away. Maybe I'm looking up north, and that deer surprised me coming from the south, looks up in that window and sees me. That's why I always try to keep those windows closed until I'm ready to take that shot opportunity, but that's not always the perfect case there in scenario. So hopefully this helps you guys understand that your hunt probably isn't over, but there's several situations and scenarios that you really got to play in and think about, on your particular piece you're hunting there. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Appreciate you guys liking the video there. Like always, hopefully you guys are getting out there in nature, and best luck on your upcoming hunt.